All right, so here's my new Zero SR. It's a 2014. I just got it just over a week ago. Um, I've been looking for one for about a year now. I finally found one that's a 2018 because that's what I wanted. I wanted an 18 or newer because the 2018 is when the SR came in with the 14.4 kilowatt battery versus the previous year it was only a 13 kilowatt, so a little bit more range. Otherwise it's pretty much the same. Let's see, so this was I bought obviously it's 18, so that means I bought it used. I actually bought it from a dealership. They were they sold that dealership sold European brand bikes, so they would use this bike as a loaner. When people bought their bike in for service, they would actually loan out this bike. So it's gone through a lot of hands. A lot of people have ridden it and tried it. And it's been dropped several times. Not crash but drop. That's the difference between crashing and dropping. Dropping, how I dropped it, just like 3 days after I got it, I dropped it. But anyways, and I dropped pretty much almost every bike I've ever had. Only a couple bikes I haven't dropped is my CB 300, my Monkey, my Trail 125. I've actually dropped my Super Cub twice. Also, once, the first time was once on the third, after like 3 days of ownership, and once a few months later after that. But anyways, so this bike is obviously electric. Why I chose this was I wanted to have an electric for a while, but they were so damn expensive and well, expensive. That was the main thing. And the other thing is that they're kind of heavy. I like light bikes. This one's actually not that heavy. It's only about, I think Zero said it was about 430 pounds. So it's not that heavy. Relatively speaking, that's about a mid-sized bike. If you look at mid-sized bikes, the weight is about that much, give or take a little bit. Some a little bit lighter, some a little bit heavier, but about that weight. And this bike actually fits like a mid-sized bike too. As far as the size when you sit on it, and the physical, just physically, just looking at it, it's the size of a mid-sized bike as well. Obviously, a standard riding position. It's actually it's very roomy in the cockpit. It's more roomy than I'm used to. The last time I ridden a bike that felt this roomy was my XSR 900. That one was also roomy too. This one feels like my body is more lean, slightly more than I'm used to. A little bit more than I'm used to. I'm used to slightly more upright, and it's not that much though. It's only like, so what I'm used to is probably about that much, and this one is probably about that much. So it's it's not that much. It's only like a few degrees more, but I can feel the difference now. The weight's interesting. It doesn't feel top heavy or bottom heavy. I guess it's because of the distribution of the weight of the battery. It's kind of the whole thing. So the weight feels kind of odd to me. I'm not used to that. I'm used to neither bikes that were bottom heavy or top heavy, not kind of spread out like this bike is. But I mean, the motor and the majority of the batteries, it is towards the bottom, but I can still feel it more overall. It's a pretty cool bike. It's I took it on a test ride during before I bought it, and it was, the first thing that got me was how smooth it was. It was like so smooth. The throttle was so smooth, and everything was just like so smooth. And the suspension is surprisingly really good for stock suspension. I haven't touched the suspension at all yet, and it's surprisingly really smooth. The spring rate is almost right. The dampening feels really good as well. Very smooth bike. The handlebars have virtually no vibration at all. The only vibration I feel is from the road. When you go on uneven pavement, potholes, whatever. That's when you feel the jolt and the vibration from the pavement. But the bike itself basically has no vibration at all. So this one, this side's been dropped. The bar end cap's not even here. The bar end cap is actually plastic. It's not even weighted. So so it doesn't even need it because it's so smooth. The torque is fantastic. Wow, the torque is great. In eco mode, even in eco mode, it actually feels really good. But in sport mode or custom mode, when you set it up to more performance, the torque is really strong. It's like really strong. The power delivery on this bike doesn't matter what mode you set it. Is that it doesn't give you the full torque. You could gun it. It doesn't give you the full torque. It kind of eases into it. It's soft. It's like a soft start. And they do that for safety reasons, because if they give you the full torque, that 115 pounds or 120 pounds of torque, whatever it is, if you get the full torque right away, you'll loop the bike. You'll land on your back with the bike sitting on top of you. That's how much torque it has. You easily loop it. So Zero design, programmed it so that way it eases into the power. So once it gets going, then the torque kicks in, and when it kicks in, man, it kicks in hard. And it's hard. It's like torque all the way up to like 90 plus miles an hour. So I was like, wow, that felt really good. I haven't felt torque like that and kicking in like that since I had my XSR 900, and it feels very similar. The acceleration and the torque feel of my XSR 900 and this bike feels very similar in that regards. It's like that's just like this monster torque that's just it's like a freight train sort of. Just pushes you, just pulls you through. So I really like that, and I really miss that. That's kind of one of the reasons why I got this bike too, because I really miss the torque. Other reason why I got this bike is, I'm kind of tired of maintenance, chain maintenance and this maintenance, that maintenance, whatever. This thing, this like the only thing you need to maintain is, replace the tires when they're worn out, maybe the brakes when they're worn out, bleed the brakes every. I believe my brakes every year, and the belt. Zero says the belt lasts for 24,000 miles, I believe. I'm not gonna go the full 24. I don't trust a rubber belt to go 24. The full length that they say. I usually go a little bit sooner, so I'm probably gonna change it at probably 20. And that keeps it even numbers. I remember easily, 20,000. So 20, 40, 60, etc. Let's actually look at this thing. It's pretty cool. Let's see. So I have set up as a temp. That's the engine temperature, and what range I have left: 84 miles with 83%. I need to change this clock. Daylight savings happened last night, so this is actually 2:15, not 1:15. So this bike has let's see, what's the mileage? Oops, wrong button there. Right. Nope. RPM, strip meter, range. Wrong one. Strip meter. Let's leave that on range. I like it on range. Let's go over to this side. Odometer. What's the odometer? Oh, jeez. The odometer right here. I was looking at these two. Odometer here. 2,300 miles. 2365. I bought it at under 23. Actually, I got it at 22 something. 22, God, what was it? 22 something, whatever. Anyways, and I'll put so overall it's a pretty good bike. I'm not used to the ergonomics. The ergonomics is kind of odd to me. It feels kind of odd. I think I'm used to, because I mostly have Hondas. So I'm kind of used to the Honda ergonomics, and I think Honda probably has the best ergonomics. I've never ridden a BMW before, and people that have them say BMWs have really good ergonomics too. But from all the different brands that I have ridden and tried on, I find Honda still have the best ergonomics, overall, generally speaking. So these ergonomics were kind of weird to me, especially the handlebar. The angle of the handlebar, the sweep and everything. the sweep back and sweep down, it was just kind of weird. It felt kind of weird to me. Let's see what else about this bike. It's a fun bike. I'm gonna use it. Probably gonna start using this bike as my commuter bike. That way, I get to work and I can just plug it in and charge it at work. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the initial look at the bike. I really like it so far. It's pretty cool. Oh, speaking of ergonomics, the handling. So I mentioned the suspension felt really good, but the handling on this bike so far, I'm not sure because I'm leaning more forward, but it feels or maybe it's the tires, because the tires do a big thing too. But the leaning feels kind of, I can feel the weight compared to my CB 300. I can feel the weight, so that's a lot more weight there. That 130 pounds more. But that thing that kind of dropped in, it's like leans over, and also it's like, it leans over a little bit and it drops in really quick. So I think that might be have to do with the tires. You won't know until you change different tire. But I felt that. So that felt kind of odd. Because these are sport bike tires, and these are the Diablo Rosso 2s. So I usually ride sport touring tires most of the time. So I actually had to buy an extension cord. They came with an extension cord, but I don't think it came with the actual zero power cord. I think the zero power cord was probably lost by one of the people that took out as a loaner, and they in the dealership they just use a computer power cord, which was a cheap computer power cord, which was an 18 gauge, and 18 gauge is not enough for this bike. You want a 14 gauge power cord, so I got 14 gauge. It's a lot. 14 gauge is over double the thickness as it compared to an 18 gauge. So I got that now. So I got it longer too, 25 feet. So that's the maximum you go with this, because when you power this thing up, when you charge it, the maximum draw that it takes is 14 amps. So that's pretty hot. With that 18 gauge, after having it charging for a few hours, I can actually hold the wire and I can feel it very warm, and especially at the plug. At the plug, it feels really warm. It's so warm where the plastic and everything here is like, it's really soft. With this one, I did the charge. It was warm, but it didn't get soft or anything. It was still everything felt good, but everything was like lightly warm, just slightly warm, not really hot. The other one was like borderline getting hot. So you have to be mindful of that. You don't want to start an electrical fire because you're using the wrong gauge power cord. Let's see. So yeah, so that's the initial look at it. I'm gonna go over it. I need to do some suspension adjustment and a few other things, bleed the brakes and such. Then I could start tuning the suspension more and start making little adjustments, maybe making some ergonomic adjustments. I actually played with ergonomics a little bit already, so right now it actually feels better than when I picked it up, the day that I picked it up. Yeah, so that's the bike. All right, thanks for watching.